What's up YouTube, Dell here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to Blue Eyes White Dragon involving the Primite engine. That being said, we are going to be focusing on Primite Fusion specifically, and if you wanted to be a bit more adaptive with this build as well, you can start looking at adding Kyberman to it, because when you add Kyberman, you also then add in a third Blue Eyes White Dragon, and there are some really cool Dragon Fusion monsters that you can utilize, while also actually being able to fusion summon properly your Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon a lot easier thanks to Primite Fusion. So I'm going to take you through the deck. I'm going to show you some of the extra deck cards, some of the fusion monsters you might not have even considered, or some that you might not even know existed as they are brand new, that you can utilize in this version of the deck. Then if you wanted to adapt it to involve stuff like your Master Magia, should you wanted to, you can do it as well, and it gives you a bit more flexibility. It kind of comes down to how consistent you want it to be and what you really want it to focus on. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving headfirst into the profile as usual for my Blue Eyes builds, I am playing 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon, backed up by the 1 Jet Dragon. Now, arguably, depending on the fusion targets you want to go for, you can swap out the Jet Dragon for the 3rd Blue Eyes. That's where Kyberman can come into rotation. The biggest issue with Kyberman is that it was a warrior, not a spellcaster, so it's a little bit harder to get access to. It's probably where you'd be looking at relying on Kaiser Seahorse a lot more to actually send it to the graveyard, because it mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that's when you can start to utilize multiple Blue Eyes. It does mean if you want to go down the 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon route for more fusion options, you're going to want to focus on getting the Blue Eyes from the deck to the grave as quickly and as possible as you can, because the more Blue Eyes in the graveyard, the more consistent you're going to have access to your other fusion monsters. Like your Master Magia, if you want to go down the route of fusion summoning it with 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons and then a Chaos monster, you can do so. Pretty standard with the lineup as well. We're going to be sticking with the 3 Sages and the 3 Maidens. Not much more really needs to be said about these. I am on the 1 Master. You don't need to rely on Master that heavily. It's just one of them other options that I like it if I don't see access to my Primite cards, or if I don't go down for the Primite Ether Barrel route and I just go, you know what, I'm going to use Lordy Load to get me access to Primite Fusion rather than going for the Barrel, then start working down a normal Blue Eyes route and hold the Primite Fusion back so that if I do get disruptive, I can still make my way into a fusion monster. Then we've got 3 Wishes for Eyes of Blue, backed up by the 1 Mausoleum, Raw, True Light, and Majesty. Again, this is where Majesty having the Kyberman route of the 3 Blue Eyes will get a little bit stronger, but that really kind of comes down to what you have access to and if you really want to be going down that route. Moving on to the Primite engine. Now, depending on what you have access to, the Barrel is a great starter. There is no doubt about that, and not even really worth kind of arguing against. But if you're like, you know what, I actually just want to play the Primites themselves, like the Primite Fusion, and I just want to route to it, the best way you can do that is off of the back of your Lordy Load, because Lordy Load is activated, you get to add a Primite card from the deck to the hand, and that's where you can bypass the Barrel and then go into stuff like your Primite Fusion and your Primite Drill Beam. Obviously, the Drill Beam gets more consistent when you do have Barrel, as it does give you another Primite monster or a normal monster to reveal. But if you're like, okay, I want to go down the Kyberman in place of the Barrel, I want to go down the 3 Blue Eyes instead of the Jet Dragon, I want to go down taking out the Drill Beam and play 3 Primite Fusion instead, so I don't always need to rely on searching it. And then when you add in the Lordy Load can in turn get you access to a 2nd Blue Eyes. So the way you'd be looking for it is your Blue Eyes Spirit Link 1 would send a Blue Eyes from the deck to the grave through the help of Mausoleum. Your Lordy Load can summon one, and if you wanted to, in place of the Drill Beam, you can actually play the Raw, and Raw gets you access to the 3rd Blue Eyes. So you can get all 3 Blue Eyes out of the deck very easily, very early on, and then you can activate the Primite Fusion to put them all back. Whether you want to go into the Master Magia, whether you want to be going into the Neo's Blue Eyes, whether you even want to go into the Ultimate Blue Eyes is entirely up to you. It gives you a lot of flexibility, and that is a route you can consider. Then for the hand traps on this build, we've got 3 Ashes, 3 Drolls, 1 Veiler, 3 Bestials, 1 Prosperity, 1 Callby, and 3 Fluolos. Just generic hand traps right now. You don't need to be going too heavy on these. Like, I say too heavy on these and I'm playing as many as I am. But I mean, you don't need to really focus on some, because the format is still a little bit undefined. Like, we're still going to be getting a Vanquished Soul that you need to consider now. You've got Mitsurugis, you've got Blue Eyes, you've got Malice that's still going to be in contention. You've also then got to take into account Lunar Lights and all of the other decks. So like the Onomat Ryziels that are going to be running around. Maybe even Monarchs in the environment, depending on where you're taking them. So there's loads of different builds you still need to keep in mind of. So we're still in this kind of like tweaking phase of being able to kind of find the right cards of the builds we want to be playing. Now, I'm not saying this is the best version around, but being able to utilize Primite Fusion, for those of you that are unaware of it, it lets you fusion summon specifically a Dragon Fusion monster from the extra deck by shuffling its materials from the field grave and or banishment back into the deck, including a normal monster. You get to banish this card from the graveyard to add a level 5 or higher Primite monster from the deck or grave to the hand. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, there's only one Primite monster that is level 5 or higher. So the graveyard effect, not that important. But the fact that you get to utilize this as a fusion spell, the reason I'm playing 2 of it is because you can't really easily recycle it as well as you want to, but you kind of want to be utilizing it more than once. In a normal version, if you're trying to cut down the edges and make sure you've got a flat 40 card deck and you don't want to be playing many bricks or stuff that's going to slow you down, you're probably just going to play the one Primite Fusion. But what you need to remember is when you're playing the Ether Barrel can set the Primite Fusion, and then your Lordy Load can also get to your Barrel. So it kind of comes down to, do you want to rely on Barrel and Lordy Load, or if you just want to rely on Lordy Load, how would you want it to work? And this is kind of what you're going to be utilizing it. Your Primite Fusion is going to be able to get you into a range of dragons, depending on what you want to play. So we'll start off with the first one being the Secturion Dragon. It requires a dragon monster and a spellcaster, and it loses 100 tap for each of your banished cards. While you control this fusion summon card, your opponent cannot activate the effects of special summon dragons or spellcasters they control. You get to target a dragon and a spellcaster monster in your graveyard, special on one, and if you do, place the other on the bottom of the deck. Only use each effect once per turn. Now, in theory, this is a level 2, 4, 6, 8, so it can get you direct access into a Synchro level 9 should you want to, but remember, you can't go into your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon because the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon needs a non-tuner Blue Eyes monster, which unfortunately the Secturion Dragon is not. Then got the one First of the Dragons. I was like, you know what, if Loonlights can get a bit of a tower, why can't we? So this requires 2 normal monsters, so it's very specific to be made. If you don't want to be playing this, but you want to play the new Primite Dragon Nefer Berzalus, which I'm not playing, which I'll explain in a minute, then of course you can swap those over. So it must be fusion summoned and can't be special summoned by other ways. You can only control one First of the Dragons, and this card cannot be destroyed by battle, except by battle with a normal monster, and it's unaffected by other monster effects. So it's not as hard to out as some of the Moonlight cards, but it's just one of the ones that you could technically sit this in defense, and if your opponent can't out it via monster effect, they need to draw like a board clearer in the form of a spell or a trap. Now in place of it, if you did want to play the Primite Dragon, this requires a Primite monster and a normal monster. It gains 1,000 attack for each normal monster used for its fusion summon. Negate the activated effects of monsters your opponent controls whose levels, rank, or link rating are less than or equal to the number of normal monsters in your field and graveyard. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to special summon a normal monster from the deck in defense vision. Now, the reason I'm not playing this is because I felt that it was so hard to actually get consistency of it. It kind of wants you to be in a 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon style deck, because you kind of want to have 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the graveyard, and you're going to be putting one back from the grave into the deck using the fusion spell, so then you're only going to be able to turn off Link 1s currently. Whereas if you played the 3 Blue Eyes, you'd be able to negate Link 2s, and then you need to find another way to get a Blue Eyes back out of the deck into the grave so you can start negating Link 3s. So that's kind of where I looked at it and felt that it wasn't as effective and that some of these other fusion targets will be better for you. The other fusion target is the one Philia Regius. Now this requires a dragon fusion monster and a level 7 or higher dragon. So Blue Eyes White Dragon plus it lets you recycle your Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate or your Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, which I think is quite important. So during the main phase you get a quick effect to target one card your opponent controls or in the graveyard and banish it. Then if you banish a card on the field with this effect, you have to return one dragon monster you control to the hand so it can recycle itself. Then, if you banish the card on the field, return one dragon monster you control to the hand. At the start of your opponent's battle phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you get to return one dragon monster you control to the hand or extra deck. And if you do special summon this card, you can only use each effect once per turn. So it's a really kind of cool card. The fact of the matter is as well that if you really, really wanted to, you could play like a level 2 tuner. Because it is a level 8 dark, you could actually try and work your way into a Chaos Angel. Not entirely worth it. Like if you're going to do something like that, you'll probably be better off using the First of the Dragons, because this is a level 9, but that's just kind of something to look at if you want it to be a little bit extra spicy. The other fusion monsters that you do have other ways to make, or the other way you can make is Tyrant Dragon is through the Wishes, or just spawning it out, so Wishes equip the Neo Blue Eyes and then tag out. But you could, if you played 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon, actually utilize the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which I think is really kind of cool. Now we're also playing 2 Spirit with Eyes of Blue, standard. Hieratic Seals, 1 SP Little Knight, Black Rose Moonlight, Lightstorm Dragon, Angel Fairy Life Dragon, Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon, and then 2 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. These are all staple. I'm not really going to spend much time on them. There's nothing real different from just a baseline Blue Eyes build of what you want to be looking for. So you can kind of adapt this as you see fit. It's really the fusion zones that kind of give you a bit more flexibility. I honestly don't think you need to be playing as many targets as I am. I mean, I'm currently playing like 3 that you wouldn't normally play anyway. just facilitating the fusion, but I feel your Centurion Dragon is pretty cool. You can probably cut out the first of the dragons, and I do actually quite like the Regius because it's a little bit more balanced to be able to deal with some of your monsters, but it also gives you that ability to put the Neo's ultimate back into the deck, and it can also help you recycle the Tyrant in a bit of a grind, or if your opponent like gets rid of it, you have a way to put it back, which is really quite useful. So that's it for the entire build. If you do have any questions at all, by all means put them in the comments down below. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, you could actually lean this more into some of the new card effects with stuff like the Kyberman, playing 3 Blue Eyes. You can rely less on the Ether Beryl and then just utilize your Lordy Load a lot more. But it really kind of comes down to what you have access to and what you're looking to achieve with it. At the end of the day, the strongest version of Blue Eyes is the Primite version. With or without the fusion, like you'd probably play 1 fusion, that wouldn't really cause that much of an issue to the consistency of the deck. But if you're like, I want to be a bit more creative, I want to start getting easier access to stuff like Magia, I want to start getting easier access to maybe even summon out the Blue Eyes Ultimate, or I want to find ways to utilize some of the other cards. So that's it for the entire profile. Any questions, like I said, put in the comments down below. More than happy to answer them. You do have loads of flexibility with it, depending on which way you want to go. So if you want to see another update with this one that probably focuses more on the fusions, and that's when you're going to start to see Magia and Kyberman, let me know. If you get the video above 50 likes and you want to see a version involving Kyberman, I'll be more than happy to do so. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.